cleaned my shed, and of course I've been using it, and so I already have a mess out here. So instead of sitting down, what I should be doing is tidying up, and I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my cup of coffee, and then I'm gonna straighten up. And it's too cold, as you can see. I'm all bundled up today. I have the door closed. I'm running my heater, and because it's really chilly today. Too cold to pour today, so I'm going to get out some things that I've made. I've been doing epoxy for a couple of years, and I've had some successes and I've had some massive failures, and I'll show you a little bit of both. But first, I do need to get serious about getting this straightened up. I've got a lot of sticky things out here, and before I wind up with sticky all over me, I need to get these things straightened up, get some things put away, get some things taken out, and I'll show you some things that I've made once I've done that and finished getting coffeeed up. This is just a piece of floral foam stuff, and when you get done with your stir stick, you can just poke it down inside there and all your resin will drip off. And these get better and better as you kind of season them with resin as they get covered, because they're just cheap popsicle sticks, but they don't leave they don't make bubbles once they get that coating of resin on them. They don't leave bubbles when you use them to stir. They become kind of like a silicone stick, which is what this is. And the problem with these, it's not a problem. They're great stir sticks, but after you use them, instead of like this, like, oh, I've used this, now I've wiped it off, and now it's ready to use again. This one, before you use it again, you have to pick off all of the resin that's dried on there, because otherwise, and that's really satisfying, but otherwise this resin will flake off into the resin you're stirring and mess up your next project, which is a drag. So you have to do that, which I hate doing. So I do avoid using this unless I am stirring up a resin that I want to be crystal clear and not have any bubbles at all. That it's just going to be a clear coat. They do a great job, but you do have to make sure they're immaculately clean before you use them again. So not as fun. My husband came out to visit and check on me, see if I needed anything, and he couldn't believe how cold it was. My little heater wasn't doing it, so he brought me a better one from inside, and thank you, honey. It's already warmer out here. This is the part where we're past me disappointed now me, because this is all sticky resin, because I didn't make myself a drip tray like I normally do because I was impatient. And this resin is fine. I'll scoop off that little film on top. It's just because it got a little humid and cold in here. It's fine. That will go away if you mix up some resin. That will go away. So it's fine, or I think it'll go away. I've never had a problem with that. I usually just scoop off that haze. If you leave some in the cup overnight, it'll get that the hardener will get a film on it. See how the resin does not, but the hardener does. I just scoop it off and use it anyway. It seems to be fine. I don't know, but probably shouldn't do that. I don't know. I've never had a problem with it. But anyway, present me is disappointed with past me because I should have cleaned up after myself and I didn't, and now I have to do it now, but I'm almost done tidying up. And I'm glad I didn't let it get any worse because that took entirely too long.
A few moments later.
Okay, well, since I spent a little time cleaning today, now my area is all ready to rock and roll for next time. Like I said, I've been doing resin for a couple of years. It's something I enjoy. It's a hobby I've really gotten off deep into. I have a ton of molds. I have a lot of pigments, and I've made a lot of things. So I was just gonna show the things that I've made over the years. I've watched a lot of videos. I especially like Pouring Your Heart Out. Julie does really neat videos. She also does some candy cooking videos that are really good. Don't miss out on that. I also watch a lot of Steve McDonald's Arts and Crafts. I like his tutorials. He does really good jewelry tutorials, and a lot of beginner tutorials that I wish I had watched when I first got started. I also watch this other channel called Goodview Woodworks, and I really like his channel. Like, oh gosh, I'm so envious of his shop. He's got a great setup, and I've learned a whole lot from watching his channel. So I'll try to remember to put links to their channels below because I've learned so much from watching them. I don't think I would do any like how-to videos, probably, other than just like little here and there stuff. But anyway, let's get on to it, and I'll show you some of the things that I've made. What I find myself doing a lot of are tests, and what I found great for that is coaster molds. The deeper ones tend to be better. These are some failures that I've had. I try to do kind of a beachy, you know, vibe. But you know, it's always nice to have some coasters out here to hold screws and your cups and things so you don't get wet everywhere. This one actually turned out okay. This was a technique that I did where I poured the resin, and when it got kind of to that sticky point, I put some cellophane over the top and kind of mashed it down and mashed the bubbles out, and it made the bottom texture. And then you're supposed to pour like a sand color over a clearly more slightly more transparent sand over the top, so that, and I just did it the wrong way. You know, I should have done the sand on the bottom and then done my cellophane and then did the water on top, shouldn't I? Yeah, that's the failure there. Same with this. I just did it. I did it the wrong dadgum way because I wasn't paying attention, and that's the kind of failure that I did. I went through a period of trying to do those free form bowls, and you know, made a mess of it. Is it a bowl? Yeah. Is it a pretty bowl? No. I could turn it into a turtle of some sort if I were feeling yard arty, but that's not my thing. Because it would make a cool like turtle shell. If some other artist wanted it for that, I would send it to them, you know, like for free. I would just send it to them if they wanted to do something with that. For me, I just use it as a bowl out here to throw random things in. Right now it's just on a shelf holding other things I've made. This is another bowl, a freeform bowl that I made. I had this going while I needed a place for extra resin because I was doing a table, and I wound up with gobs of extra resin that I didn't want to go to waste. So is it pretty? Again, no. Does it work as a bowl? It does. It does. This is a more successful freeform bowl that I made. It actually turned out not too bad and is the perfect size for a wine bottle, actually. I don't use it for that. I will, you know, pardon me, I can clean it up and, you know, if I'm in a pinch for a quick gifty poo and forgot someone's birthday, which I tend to do, you know, put a bow on that and pop a bottle of wine in it and give it to them as a gift. That's something you can pick up at the store on the way. So that's primarily what I do with my stuff. I have only sold a couple of things. I primarily, the successes the few successes that I have, I give away as gifts. This is a bowl that I just made yesterday, actually, and it is a mold. I did not freeform this. It's a mold. Not the prettiest thing. I'm trying with getting a handle on my glitter problem, but as you can see, I'm not succeeding at that at all. Let's see. Let's see some more coasters. This is something Julie on Pouring Your Heart Out does, these 3D bloom technique, and I'm clearly doing something wrong because hers turn out great and mine do not. My white is too blobby. I know that I'm piping too much white at the wrong time because they're all very blobby. It looked like it was kind of gonna work a little bit and blobs. These are just some other tester coasters that I've done along the way. Trying some things with alcohol, ink, and white in your resin. Medium success. I don't know why I hang on to these things. These failure pieces. Sometimes it's a good reminder, but I don't really know what to do with them, and that's a problem because I don't know. I wind up with a million coasters. And wait, there are more. These are coasters that I actually use out here in my shed for to set my cups on, and I just had them sitting around, so I thought I would show those. This was a new mold set that I got, and I was like, oh, okay, so if I do just some plain coasters in that, so I tried a new technique, blah, blah, blah. Cheapest, crappiest mold ever, and every single one of the molds for these tore. And if you look closely at that set, every single one of those has a little bit of silicone mold stuck to them because the mold was crap. Here are just some more coasters that I made. The back side of that looks good, but the business side as a coaster does not. I mean, you could use it that way, I guess. But again, these are ones that I just actively use in my shed that have not gone so well. This is, again, I tried the 3D flower technique that Julie on Pouring Your Heart Out does, and I'm sure she would be ashamed of that result because I did not do it right. I did not do it right. So let's see, a couple things that I am a little more proud of. I did this jar and it turned out great. The mold was great, everything. You know what I did wrong here? Put those flowers in the wrong side up. That should be the bottom side. That should be the top side. However, it still works as a jar, and then you have a little surprise in there. This was a mold I got kind of as on a whim, and it's a Hulk fist, and I'm gonna drill it out and use it to hang my apron on. I'm gonna hang it over by my shed, and I'll use it to hang my apron on. So I'll remember to put my apron on and stop ruining my clothes. So I also make some things, practical things that are just stupid. Bottle openers, and these, I actually have sold a few of these. These are unfinished. I need to do a little sanding work on the back of these, put their hardware on, but I have quite a few of these that I've made over time. And like I said, I've sold a few. I'll see if I can pop in a picture of some others that I've made. Other random things, let's see, these little boxes. Again, I just had these sitting around and poured extra resin into them, so the colors are not nice. They do work as boxes though. This one I use to put extra screws in when I'm working on a project. But these are all just kind of works in progress that I didn't like to give as gifts when I was making like rounds of Christmas gifts. And they just turned out kind of goofy and not good. So I just use them in here. Like the Flamingo Coaster, I just thought was funny, but it doesn't really work because you can't put a very large cup in it. I just kind of use these boxes and old things that I've made just to store my stuff. This is kind of a neat thing. It's a light, it was a light bulb mold, and you put a little button light at the bottom of it, a little LED button light. But I put so much stuff in it, little fruit pieces that I had made, that the light doesn't shine through it. Like, it's pretty, I guess, ish, but the light doesn't shine through it because I put too much stuff in there. As usual, I went overboard. It's so awkward making this video. I keep thinking, gosh, my husband is gonna come out here and go, who the heck are you talking to? And I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm just making a video to put on my random YouTube channel, and then he'll make fun of me, and that's okay. I guess I don't care. I'm gonna do it anyway, but it's still kind of awkward and weird, but I'm still gonna do it. These are some things that I've made that are just cute and completely useless. I had a plan to make some things with these cactus molds, and I did make it, but it just didn't turn out right and wound up in the trash. I like the little fruit things. They're just cute. My plan for these is to turn them into earrings. I can put a cap on that and a little hook, and because they're really light, I can turn those into little earrings. These berries are okay, but they're flat-backed, so I don't know what I might do with those. The strawberries, I thought, oh, well, those would be great earrings too, but they're a little heavy. So I may try those again with a void in them. I've seen people do that, put another silicone mold inside there, one of those tall skinny molds, or something that will create a void in there that you can then get out when you're epoxy dries or cures. I may try that because that may make it significantly lighter. That's just a little heavy. And that's just cute. What will I do with it? Who knows? Again, with the little palm trees and the little pineapple, what will I do with it? I don't know. These are not practical things. These are just cute things. Have a lot of flower molds. What these are good for is practicing. You're not using a lot of epoxy, which can be quite expensive, but if you have colors you want to try, doing these little flowers, and the molds are cheap and pretty durable. I find most of the flower molds I've ever used are fairly durable. Do take care of your molds though, and they'll last a little longer. You know, don't torch them to death and burn them and things like that, and clean them before you put them away, and be kind to them, and they'll last a long time. But I have, as you can see, quite a lot of flowers. I had a lot of leaves, but I did a project and I just haven't made any more. The leaves turn out pretty though, but as you can see, some of the flowers turn out prettier than others. This one turned out pretty, this one not so much. These big ones, hard to make turn out pretty. So, but there's some things to test with, and you're not using up, like I said, a lot of resin. And some of these littler things, I'm sure people turn those into really pretty jewelry and stuff like this. What I did with this kind of stuff a couple of years ago was make little Santa Claus gifts for all of the ladies on my floor at work. I made little boxes, for them to keep their paper clips and pens and things, and I incorporated this kind of stuff into their little gifty poos. And a lot of them still have those things. So these are some more bottle openers that I made. Some turn out better than others. Some need their hardware. This one is cool, but they're heavy with those rocks. With the rocks that I added in, it makes them extra heavy. And this one is for fall. It's real windy today. That almost blew my door open. Yeah, so a bunch of bottle openers. This is a project that I have never finished. It's an old picture frame. I left the glass in, I caulked the back. Because I had tried doing like an alcohol ink painting on glass. I had seen people do that. And for me, that did not turn out to be a success. I don't like it. So what I did was, like I said, I caulked the back so I wouldn't have any leaks. And all those random flowers and leaves, I put into there and poured layer after layer of epoxy with the intention that I would then eventually put handles on it and turn it into a serving tray. But as you can probably see, those flowers stick up so high that I would have to build sides onto this and pour so much resin over it that it would be, it's already so heavy, it would be so blankety blank exclamation mark heavy that as a serving tray it would not do. Now I don't know what to do with this heavy ASS piece of art, question mark. I don't know what to do with it, but I made it. It's not uncool, I guess. I mean, if you hung it on the wall, you would definitely need like one of those drywall screws with the big hardcore like thing on it, hanger thing on it, because it's heavy. I guarantee you this weighs as much as some toddlers. It probably weighs as much as my smallest dog. That's how heavy it is. But it's not unpretty. It catches a lot of dust. I feel like I should probably go ahead, as heavy as it is, and fill the flowers so it will be less of a dust nightmare, and find somewhere for it in my house. For now, it lives right over here. I don't know what else to do with it, but I don't really have the heart to throw it out because I put a lot of time and a lot of epoxy into that. So I feel like I have to keep it. These little dog paws I just think are so cute. I can do a lot of different stuff with them. Again, not use a lot of resin, and make a lot of cute different things with a lot of different effects. And they just turn out real cute if you take your time with them. I did ruin my molds. I have to get new molds for these because I torched them to death and did not take care of them. But my plan for these is my friend works with a dog shelter where 2 of my dogs came from, and I'm gonna finish these off and make sure all of them have magnets on the back, and I have a whole bunch more made, and I'm just gonna give them to them and they can just sell them with their fundraiser things, and buy a couple bags of dog chow for their rescue dogs that are at the shelter and stuff like that. So adopt, don't shop. I won't preach anymore, but do adopt, don't shop. Shelter dogs are great. They just have issues. They're odd little creatures, much like me. This is 92% success, but also a failure. Here's what happened. When I poured this, my surface was not level, and I like to dome things so that they have less of an edge to deal with. My surface was not level, so I over poured onto my mold, which would not have been a tragedy. You know, you can sand that off. You can take care of those things. You can drill this out, blah, blah, blah. Here's the part. I tore my mold. I might be able to fix it. I do have some jewelry tape. I do have some silicone. I might be able to fix that, and I am gonna try. However, that's the fail part. And I'm disappointed in myself because that was just a mistake on my part. I should not have done that. I'm gonna try to fix it. But the success part of this is that I finally got my wave technique down. I have tried this a million times. I have wasted countless ounces of epoxy trying to do waves, and they're not perfect or what I intended, but I learned a couple things. They did work. I was gonna have to drill that out anyway, so I'll use my little Dremel thingy. I'll drill that out. I was gonna have to sand it anyway, get those edges off. But that turned out so pretty, and I'm so proud of myself, and not to brag, but it turned out okay. Not everybody's thing, but as a billionth try and finally success, I'm pretty proud of myself, and I'm not too shy to show it off a bit. Other makings are Christmas ornaments. These were so much fun. I made a whole bunch of these. I'll pop a picture in of some other Christmas ornaments that I made this year that turned out really cute. Some are flashier than others, but I did put them on our tree this year, and they look cute. They're real bright, and I think next year I'll make more colors of them. As we talked about the glitter thing, I just can't seem to help myself. I get out here, and this is a sticky craft, and it turns me into a little child. I can't stop with the glitter, especially when it's specially shaped Christmas glitter with snowflakes. And I think I even had some that had like little trees and stuff in them. So cute. I can't help myself. Judge me if you will, and I don't even care. I made an entire forest of these Christmas trees. And I have a plan. I was going to make them into a really neat lighted ornament for like a mantle ornament for this year, but I did not get to finish it. Let me show you something that's kind of funny. This is what happens when you don't wait long enough to take your stuff out of its mold. You wind up with the epoxy wasn't cured at the very top, so I wound up with a who top on my trees. And at the very end, I got these, which are a neater shape. I hope to get some more of those between now and next Christmas, so that I can make the big mantle ornament with these trees that I have planned even more unique. So yeah, that's what my Christmas tree forest is earmarked for, and we'll see how that turns out if I wind up doing it. I also went through a Halloween ornament making phase, and not surprisingly, I guess, the majority of the molds that you find for that are skulls. Again, some of these turned out better than others. They make cute little keychains. That's what I've done with them in the past. These are some more Halloween ornaments that I've made. These molds are those ice cube molds that you get. Those fancy ice cube molds. So that's what those are. Again, I've used those for keychains, and those are a few more that I've made. I made up a whole bunch of these. I'm gonna turn the lights down real quick and show you the glow in the dark effect on some of these. And then some of these glow in the dark or under a black light. Some of them glow. Oh, even that one does. So once you expose it to a UV light, it'll glow for a little while. Not very long, but it does glow. I'll pop in a little video of a thing I made for Halloween a couple of years ago that turned out pretty cute. I'll see if I can try to pop that in. My little UV light thing away, I had forgotten these have been hanging up here forever. It's some of the first little jewelry pieces I ever made, and I just strung them together with wire, and I forgot about them because they've just been hanging up here above my line of sight. Also made some bookmarks. This one has a blue jay feather in it that I just found on the ground, and unfortunately I sanded off part of its color there. I discovered today when I was picking these up that actually looks better on with a color on its background, as do these cicada wings. They look better on a colored background, so lesson learned. This is just one I painted, and some others. This is also some of the early, this is just a random cube of stuff. I think it's got a rock in there, and again, I just strung it on some twisted wire. This is some of the first jewelry I made with the bezels that you have to use the jewelry tape with. Some turned out better than others. And just some more jewelry pieces. This is one of those two-part molds that you make the rock side and then you flip it over and pour your other color in. They're okay. I think I'll string those up and call it a day there. A lot of people make jewelry, but it's just, I don't know, it's just not my thing, I don't think. This is just, okay, this is just some weird stuff. We had an abundance of cicadas this year. So, as kind of a joke, I started making these little cicada shell sculptures. And I just think, and I have found some that I think my cat may have actually brought these to me as a little prize. But I just think they're funny. It's for a future joke that will be funny when it comes to fruition. So, and again, just with a little cicada embedded in there. This was an interesting flash cure abomination. This is what happens when it's too hot. The temperature, the atmospheric temperature is too hot for you to be pouring resin. This was, oops. Oh, grief. Okay. This sucker just came undone on me. It must have had a bubble in it, so the epoxy cured so fast that the path of the bubble cured into the epoxy, which is weird for sure, but I like weird things. And as a reminder that when it's 100 degrees outside, you should not be pouring your epoxy. I'm gonna keep it, and it doesn't take up much room on my shelf, so. Okay, well that's gonna be about it for me for today. I got my place all cleaned up. I'm gonna go in and switch to some different kind of chores and things inside and be where it's warm for a little while. Like I said, it's way too cold to pour today, and I accomplished my goals out here for the day, which was clean up my mess and get it ready to use next time. There's nothing more frustrating than walking out to your work area and having it be messy from your last chore because you just didn't clean up after yourself. So that's a goal for me in this upcoming year, is to tidy up my work area so that it's totally ready to go for next time. After my shed clean out and clean up and organization task last weekend, I think I'm ready to do that, and I'll be more motivated to stay on top of it. Now that it's neat and tidy, I'll be more inclined to keep it that way. So for a little while at least, you know. Anyway, well that's all for me today. Thanks for sticking in there and watching my video. I really appreciate it, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot. Take care. Oh. The train keeps blowing its horn. Is it? One more time. There's one more crossing. Now the neighbor's car alarm. I wonder if my husband is gonna come out and the dogs are gonna start barking.